Welcome everyone to the Your Little Castle show. It is very exciting when you get to have experts, especially on kind of a national level. We're talking with an expert who's very special, and when I say that because when you look at the name here, Todd Speciale, the Chief Sales Officer for Apex Roofing and Restoration. It's just exciting to have you in the studio here. You're connected with Tim, who's running your St. Louis office. You're expanding into the St. Louis market, and we're just excited to have you here.
Yeah, I love that we're here because I lived in Chesterfield for about a year. I lived in Columbia for about 7 years. So I know the Missouri market pretty well, and it's exciting that I like to say, come back home because I graduated in Columbia. Didn't live here my whole life. I lived in upstate New York for 14 years, but it's an exciting opportunity because as we scale, we always look for good people and good markets. And St. Louis, the state of Missouri in a whole, they're just great people. So we're happy to be here to serve them.
Well, I tell you, when you've got a company that's done what you guys have done and the history you've got, I'm looking at some of the rankings and ratings and Birdseye and Better Business Bureau and Google. Wow, you guys really have some incredible experience. I want to touch a little bit on this, and I know this is probably something that's like a little hard for somebody to take on because you're like, man, it wasn't just me. But you built this organization up recently, taking over 3 years now. You guys started in 2009, but the last 3 years, you came in as the chief sales officer, and it really helped to make this grow with your team, you like to say.
Yeah.
But tell me, as a matter of doing that, how do you think you grew that so much, and what was behind it that really made it successful for you?
I always tell people, you go into any organization, I have the luxury of being here, right? We always say we work with one another, we don't work for. And I think a lot of people miss that, right? And when I came into Apex, they had 5 offices in 2 states, and now we have 17 offices in 6 different states. And we talk about, Todd Speciale, Chief Sales Officer. Honestly, it's like, it's not me. And I'm not just saying that because that's the cool answer to say like all their leaders say. I'm saying it because it's also true. At Apex, when someone has an idea, whether you're with us for one day or you're with us for the entire 14 years since 2009, 10-ish that we've been open, they really just take into consideration what ideas someone has. You're not just another number. And I think that as the organization was growing, when Grant Rocket, who is an extraordinary human, wanted to scale and build this organization, he was looking for someone to take over sales and kind of have their finger on the pulse and also have great creative ideas to help expand it. Where do you get those ideas? You get them from the people. And I think a lot of leaders that have the cool titles and the roles think, oh, it's Chief Sales Officer. Well, I just say, no, it's Todd and Carter. Because the truth is, without just us and talking and having great conversations, you really don't know how to grow without speaking to people that are the boots on the ground, the people that are out there doing the work. And that's how you actually expand. That's what helped us grow into 6 different states. And it also helps when you have a motivated, CEO, a motivated COO, and Aaron Shields, and our CFO, Tim Burke, and our Chief Growth Officer, Bo Burdick. We just have so many extraordinary people that are like, okay, what's the idea? And then we vet the idea and we give it a shot. And that's what's helped us grow as a team, do it together. Yeah.
That's how you describe your team and your leadership right there. You can tell why you're in the position that you're at. Well-spoken, articulate, detailed, and you really have seems to have a handle on everything that goes into managing this. How many salespeople are there across the country that you're managing?
Yeah, we've got over 250 salespeople nationwide right now, which is pretty cool. And the nice thing about Apex, we're very selective on who we hire because we don't just want any random person knocking doors. You talked about reviews earlier. It's very important. See, one deal will not change the financials at Apex, but a homeowner's happiness will. So if we're not the right company to serve them, as I say, serve, not sell, because we want to help owners make the best decision for probably the biggest asset they'll ever own, which is their home, right? If we can serve them, even if we don't do business with them, we want to be the person that serves them and treats them well so they can give us referrals and talk about us to other people. That's the most important thing. So we talk about scaling salespeople. It's not really salespeople that we're really worried about. It's the character of those people when we hire them. And we only hire good people like Tim, who you know very well, who had his own company and transitioned into Apex. We are so lucky to have, but that's how you grow. You find good people. So we kind of keep it, you would think 17 offices and all these different states, we'd have a multitude of thousands of salespeople. No, we're very selective because we want people to represent the company properly.
And what are some of the advantages that brings you? A lot of people say that, the larger a company gets, the more detached they can become, but you're not really to that big international level with 400 locations or anything like that, but you've got enough size to really command some power within the industry to get purchasing power and some other. What are some of the benefits of just kind of being at the size that you're at right now?
I think with Apex, one of the most important things for us is that as we build a roof, right, and that's really our main focus, is putting on the best roof possible. We don't want to be like a lot of these other roofing companies, and we don't talk bad about any roofing company, but it's pretty common practice that you build a roof that needs to be replaced every 10 years. Now, there's some roofs that are on for 14 and 15 and 20 and 30, and they shouldn't be, right, because they don't really understand how horrible it can damage their home if it's not protected. Right. But we want to build a roof one time with you. See, we want you to say, I only had to build the roof once with Apex because how we build it. We're also the #1 fortified roofing company in the United States. What does that mean? To kind of explain it in layman's terms, it just means we build the best possible roof, which could give you huge potential savings in your insurance premiums on an annual basis. And it also helps you redirect some of the money that you're already spending on insurance towards building a roof, which is kind of like saying, if I'm already spending the money, why not get the best roof and not have to worry about it for 20 years? Because a lot of roofing companies come in, national organizations and mom and pop, and they'll say, hey, let me build your roof. I'll just put on the builder grade roof up to code, and then all of a sudden they're going to have to do it again 10 years from now. Apex doesn't want to do that. We serve our homeowners, we build it one time, and because of that, they give us referrals, and we're known as the roofer that takes care of homeowners.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's key. Could you imagine? First, you struck me there with, I thought these are 25, 30-year roofs.
Yeah.
But did they know going in? A lot of the roofing companies know going in, they're going to get to come back in 10 years. Hailstorm comes through or whatever, and then we say, no, we can build a roof that's sustainable, that lasts longer than that. If it's a storm that comes through, it causes major damage. But the normal wear and tear, these things are only going to last 10 years many times, unless they're built by Apex.
Well, and when we build them, if you go with our like fortified or impact resistant shingle and a lot of different ways that we build roofs to make it better to last longer, right? Won't go into the huge technical details, but let's just say this. Our warranties are the best. If you do a fortified roof with us, we will warranty that roof, leak-free guarantee for 20 years. No one's offering that, right? So what do we do that's different? We make sure that you build your roof one time. We make sure it's protected. We're going to back it. And the products that we use are also backed by huge organizations that, no, this isn't a typo or anything wrong, have been open for over 500 years. That if, God forbid, we were to go out of business, which isn't likely, but they're still protected because of the manufacturers that we use, which is pretty cool. When you use a mom and pop company or even a national organization, a lot of the things that Apex has advantages to because of the relationships our owner and our CEO have built over the years, we can offer things that they just can't, right? So is there a lot of difference in how a roof's built? There's way more difference than people think. And if I were to ask the average person how many times you've been on your roof, what do you think they would say to me?
I would say the average person has probably been on the roof never.
Never, right? Yeah. So we really just want to offer value. So when we're doing an inspection on a roof or we're out there actually helping someone, we're actually looking at the roof, we're looking at things that they've never seen. So for instance, if I were to ask someone that's, sells cars for a living, I didn't know anything about cars, well, they're the expert, right? So I would talk to them. If they're, in an eye care center, I would ask them directly, well, we're the experts in roofing. So a lot of people assume just because there's no leaks in the roof that there is no damage. Well, we do a full assessment. And here's the cool thing about Apex. If there isn't any damage, we're going to give them a report that basically says there's no damage. And we're not going to sell them anything. We're not going to talk them into doing anything because you want to know what it is. And if an insurance company, they decide to file a claim on their behalf, because that's what we all pay home insurance for, if they decide to do that on their own and the insurance company denies it, well, they don't have a before and after kind of like report, right? Apex offers that free because we just want to be the roofer of choice in the future if you ever have to replace your roof. We're kind of like building and nurturing that individual, saying we're not going to force you into a deal. We're going to make sure that you've got the great roofer, you got a report that shows before and after, hey, Mr. Insurance Company, this is the shape it was in prior to the storm, and now after the storm, this is the shape that it's in. So it gives them a really good optimal opportunity for their insurance company to go ahead and pay for the roof.
There you go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've talked to a few roofing guys. We've had a few guys on the show, and nothing against, they all are very knowledgeable, know what they're talking about, but just different topics of discussion come up. So take note of that. That report that you get is instrumental because how often is there some time when there was damage that they didn't get fixed, and now it comes back and the insurance company won't cover it. That's why they want to make sure they've got a report like this that claims that they've got a free and clear roof. That way the insurance company can't argue with them.
Yeah, and I think, and that's exactly what I'm saying. And I think that a lot of people, they don't understand the damage a roof can do to the entire dwelling if it's not taken care of. I can't tell you how many times we've gone into homes and there's been water damage inside the attic, which creates what? Black mold, right? And black mold can do what? It can kill people, right? So it's hard, and people don't think about that. They're like, oh, it's fine. The roof's on, right? Everything's okay. But because they're not experts in this field, we really live by serving people. Like, yes, we're in business. Yes, we want to make money. Everybody's like, oh, I just want to serve people. No, we're in business to make money, just like everybody else. But if you can do it serving people, we get to lay our head down at night knowing that we actually helped someone and actually put on the best roof for the best money, the best warranty, and actually support that person. Every single roof we build has a customer success agent that specifically is for them. So if they need to get a hold of us, they get a hold of us like this, and we handle any issues from that point forward.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, when you start, this is why you bring in guys who have got that kind of a grasp on the whole big picture, because how often is it that, and again, there's a lot of experts that do know what they're talking about, but when it really gets down to doing the full job and having the full package, if you will, getting that that the report is worth gold because I mean, I say at the other end of that is also people are very often taught that they're going to get sold something, right?
Sure.
And they say, "Come on in here, yeah, well, yeah, we found this a little bit," and they don't really need it. And you don't want somebody to walk somebody into a claim that they don't need.
That's right.
Because it makes their rates go up, and if they get known as a reputation for making claims that they don't. For when there's no damage,
sure.
That affects their insurance as well.
Yeah, well, we don't really talk anybody into filing a claim. See, the idea is we just want to be the roofer, right? If they want to file a claim, that's completely on them. I think with Apex, the most important thing is giving them the knowledge to know if they need to, right? Because we build roofs retail. We've got creative financing options. We can help people that a lot of companies can't help. But the idea is that you pay for home insurance for a reason, right? And if the homeowner wants to file a claim, that's completely on them. We don't talk people into doing it. It's not our line of business. We just want to show them the damage and give them opportunities to how they can put a brand new roof on their home and do it in the most optimal way. And I think a lot of companies miss that because a lot of salespeople are in the streets trying to force people in the deal, make some money, try to make that cash. Well, at Apex, we have systems on the back end that doesn't allow that. So our salespeople can't just throw stuff up against the wall and hope that it sticks. When we provide leads, we vet the lead. We actually speak to the homeowner, make sure they're doing it for the right reasons. And I think that's the reason why we keep our sales force so small, because we want to make sure that people are doing the right thing by homeowners, because it will set us aside from any other competitor.
And to add to that, if I've got the right perspective here, there's so much that goes on that's involved in the whole function of a roof that if you are not getting this thing properly, if there is a problem and there's a leak that's just going kind of undetected, but it's still there and it's letting water in, and then it starts calling you got a vented system up there, airflow through there, and you're going to end up, if you get mold, I mean, now you've got the whole house at stake.
That's right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and we've seen people, I don't know if you've ever seen anybody try to get rid of mold, what it looks like when they put it around their house. But let's just say it looks like a fun house that goes around their house, right? To try to get rid of the mold. It's not a fun process. And I think what we try to do is limit the opportunity of any of that from happening. And I think a lot of people will say, well, my roof has lasted 20 years. Well, God bless you and good for you. But I think because of what we talked about earlier, you haven't been on your roof. You don't know, right? We offer, obviously, we've got drones that do amazing AI work that really gives us a really great report. We deal with some really third-party vendors and companies that really give us optimal opportunity to see if there is damage and if it's real. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that just because a roof lasted you 20 years doesn't mean it should. And all it's doing is adding potential opportunity to damage the roof even more. And I'll give you an example. I built a house. I'm living in Orlando, Florida right now. I'm here in St. Louis to meet Tim and the sales team as we're scaling this market. I built a brand new home, and it was $1 million home in Orlando, Florida. And I was gone for vacation over in Europe, and my wife was home with our younger daughter, and I was with her father and her brother. And a hurricane came through Orlando, Florida. Brand new home, $1 million home. Okay, our roof alone is 120, 130K, right? Tile roof. And when I left, she calls me, and this is not an exaggeration, we had 21 buckets, brand new roof, of water coming through the ceiling in our roof, damaging our ceiling, right, and destroying our property that we spent all of our money that we loved on because it was our dream home. And I think what people don't realize is just because our roof is new, they think it's put on right. See, we have quality control to make sure that roof is put on right, so you guys don't go through things like that when a lot of builders just let it go because it's just burn and turn, right? Get as much money as I can. At Apex, we want you to do it one time. Even if it's a brand new build, we're going to check it to make sure it's built properly.
All right, man. I'm impressed. That's not how I normally allude into a conversation here, but I mean, you've really very knowledgeable and get that whole big picture of what's going on there. Let me backtrack a little bit. Tell me, how did you get into this and transfer into this industry with your background and 3 years ago, and then prior to that, what you were doing and what led you here?
Yeah, so I mean, I speak a lot. I speak about 12 to 15 times a year on stage on sales and leadership and development, and it's been a passion of mine for a lot of years. I was the guy that had a very humbling upbringing where I was knocking doors in Colombia at 15 years old selling $2,000 vacuum sweepers. You know what I mean? I was horrible at it, by the way, very, very bad. And I realized that there was a lot of people in sales not doing it for the right reasons. The old days, my dad was born in 1931. A handshake was your bond. You didn't need a stack of 270 pages of a contract to know that you were getting a good deal, right? Right. It was like, Carter, let me shake your hand. That's the deal. It was done. That was 1931 mentality. Well, I think over the years, so many people lie and so many people are not integrity based in their sales practices. I made a very good living for over a decade just training sales and leadership development for a lot of organizations and going and kind of looking at their SOPs, standard operating procedures, and the way their systems were built and trying to finalize a way that can make them more efficient without adding more salespeople. Getting people able to actually serve people rather than sell them. And I had a pretty good social media presence online, and the owner reached out to me and he said, hey, I need someone to run sales. And I didn't know anything there was about roofing at all, right? But sales is sales. It doesn't matter what you're selling. As long as you're integrity-based, you do the right thing, then you can have a great company. Well, this company was scaling so big, it was a huge opportunity for me, and I think it was felt both ways, from the owner and myself, as a really good way to move forward. And although you didn't have knowledge in roofing, and what I've learned over the past 3 years is tremendous by the extraordinary people that we have in our organization, I'm more of the people guy. I want to bring good people into an environment, give them a great opportunity, and make sure the culture is top notch, because retention is the most important thing in sales. You could replace production all day long. You know what you can't replace? Good people. So my mentality was to come in to make sure we had the right people in the right places, and then build systems and process to allow us to scale and go into markets as storms hit. And there was an optimal opportunity like St. Louis to build a great location to expand on. So that was kind of my goal. And just like anybody else, I could have the cool title, but I still have to prove myself, right? So I came in and did that, and we've scaled. And now I just want to teach other people to do the same thing.
Awesome. This is the kind of leadership that we're looking to bring on to exemplify to the community, because it's something like, do you feel like you had some special gift from God, or is it hard work? I mean, most people, it's just putting yourself in that position, working hard to get there, and never giving up. I mean, that's kind of where I talk about, if you know my story. I was hit by a drunk driver, was in a coma, lucky to be here, and they had kind of written me off, and I just wouldn't quit. Yeah. And I don't know if you went through something like that, I hope not, but it sounds like you came from a humble, like you said, humble background, and now running an organization like this, hard work. What do you think really got you there?
I think you can't grow without suffering.
Okay.
And I think that what people, think sometimes the quick dollar, all these kids, I've got a 26-year-old daughter, a 21-year-old daughter, and a 9-year-old daughter, remarried, have a beautiful wife now, and I'm very blessed to have. But I can tell you that in today's day and age, people think the money should just come, and it should come quickly. And I think that unless you suffer, you never have growth. And I think growth comes from suffering. It comes from pain, like stuff you've gone through. We could probably spend 2 hours on here, or 2 days really telling our stories. Everybody has their own story. You know what I've realized is the weight of one person's story is no different than the weight of another's, right? Because someone could say, well, I didn't have the cool shoes when I went to school as a kid. Well, to me, I'm lucky I had shoes at all. Does that mean my weight was worse than that person? No, right? Their weight is still heavy. And I think in Apex, we take everybody's story. We give a lot of people opportunity, but you have to grow and believe that you can. And we give people the platform to do that. I don't care if you have a college degree, you've never gone to college, you didn't graduate from high school. If you got a good work ethic and you've got a good heart and you have the ability to actually put in the effort and want to serve people, you can make more money at Apex than you can at most companies where, they're training people to be C-suite executives. Or I always tell people the average median income for an attorney these days is $65,000 a year. I have reps making $500,000 a year. I have reps making $65,000 a year. So you don't need to go to college, and I don't knock that at all. Education is great, but you want to make sure that you give people an opportunity, and that comes with knowing that their leader, and I don't say boss, there's a big difference, within their hierarchy has their best interest at hand, and that's exactly what Apex does for people.
Well, and it shows with what you guys have put together. So I'm going to show everybody a little bit of just the highlights. As I started digging here, I'm like, holy cow, they got it. Top ratings here. They've got Bird's Eye. They've got Google. They've got everything. Here is that Bird's Eye. And you look here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put this on the screen for everybody to see this. But take a look here. 508 reviews of 4.9. At 0.1, what happened was a 4.9. That's rather amazing here. When you got a team and a group that's putting it together at the level you are, that's where you can really stand out. I'm gonna scroll down here. I'm gonna randomly just grab one of the reviews here, if I can. There we go. And let's just get a little bit featured reviews. And am I missing? Where am I clicking? At Bird's Eye. There we go. And with everything you got. Great everything. Henry spent a lot of time getting what was necessary for the insurance company to pony up for our claim, and that was not an easy task. Then Robert managed the actual restoration in an organized, professional, timely manner. Everyone was friendly, and roofing crew did a great job. These are the kinds of things. How's it make you feel when you've got these kinds of people saying so much about you? I'm looking at all the reviews. Holy cow! It's got to make you feel great about what you're doing.
It does, but you know what's more important than that is the people that didn't post the review. I think that with Apex, we are so prone on making sure that we do a good job, quality control from start to actually production in the build. And I think a lot of people miss that. For instance, if you wear a Nike product, let's say, right? And a lot of people buy Nike products. Do you think there's negative reviews on Nike?
Sure.
Okay, there's tons of them, right? So we've had people come to us in the past and say, well, you guys have a few negative reviews. And I said, well, we've also built 35,000 roofs. So how many did you see? They said, oh, we saw 50. On all the platforms? Yeah. Okay. So that means we have a 99.9% satisfaction rate. Sounds like a good rate, right? But I think people concentrate so much on the negative reviews when they see online, because when do people mostly post stuff? When they're upset, right? They don't normally post when they're happy, but we train our salespeople to believe that, if you're serving someone, whether you sold them a roof or not, we want you to treat them so well that we're going to kind of shift the norm of only posting negative reviews when someone's mad to actually posting some when they're happy. And I think that that's important for us. So we really concentrate on the people that didn't post reviews because we want them to post a review. We're always open to constructive criticism. And we also know that when you see a negative review online, that we want an opportunity to fix it. So we've got a great customer service team that reaches out to the person when they post the review to see how we can fix it. And that's the most important thing for us because we're very real. But I think people miss that. A lot of people go directly to the reviews and say, look at all these negative reviews. You say, well, how many did you find? Oh, 100? Well, we built 35,000 roofs. So we have a 99% satisfaction rate. That's great, Carter. Well, thanks for pointing that out. And that's a really cool thing that Apex does. So
there you go. Now we're talking about really getting out in the community and making a difference. That's when we put the cowboy hat on. That's what we stand for, the Cardinal Cowboy, and going out and doing good things to make this planet a little better place. I mean, there's so many people. You're right. This is the most expensive asset that just about anybody's going to own. Mm-hmm. They're going to use it for their long term, for their family's inheritance, something to pass on to the family. Mm-hmm. We got a wonderful house that my dad inherited and then passed on to my mom. Now she passed, and that's going to be a great resource, a great asset. But you got to put roofs on these things. You got to make sure these things stay right, because a lot of people don't understand how important that roof is, because everything falls underneath the walls. If there's siding, water gets in between any of that stuff. Yeah. The value of this thing can be greatly diminished, and then you've got some problems.
You do. Well, you think I always relate it to life, and it's crazy because when people talk about roofs, like, what do you relate to life? How do you do that? Well, when do most people go to the doctor?
When they've got a problem. Right.
See, we want to be the doctor we want to be proactive, not reactive, right? So for us, we want to get there before there's an issue so we can fix it. And I think there's a lot of people in life that when they have a problem, they go there and it's reactive. When they have a problem, then sometimes it's too late, right? And a lot of times in homes, it's the same thing. We want to be reactive so we can go out there and serve the community, offer an opportunity to be their roofer, and actually do something that's really good for the biggest asset they'll ever own. And I think if we kind of like focus on that and serving people and kind of being that reactive person, people should be open just saying, yeah, why not? Check the roof out, see if it's in good shape or not. Because with a company like ours, who we care more about the no's than we do the yeses, believe it or not. The yeses give us business, but the no's give us more. You want to know why? Because everybody's trying to force a roof or force something down a consumer's throat. At Apex, it's not that easy. What we want to do is if the roof's in good shape, we're going to let you know it's in good shape. And then we're going to say, hey, Carter, because we treated you properly, we didn't try to force you into anything. Is there anybody else that you know that we might be able to serve? And then Carter says, you know what? You didn't try to force something on me like everybody else is doing. So why don't you go check out my sister's house next door or my friend Bob's down on the cul-de-sac? That to us means more than one sale.
Okay. Yeah, it's that integrity you're talking about. Mm-hmm. When you've got that, a lot of things go a lot easier for you in life just because you're doing what's right and doing with integrity.
Amen. Yes, sir.
And so that's what we really like to hear. Great example. Well, tell me, if there's one thing you would argue that really sets Apex apart from the rest. You've kind of touched on a few things there, but if you can kind of summarize for me, what really is it that sets Apex apart from?
Well, there's two things. Number one, I think most sales organizations, because we are in sales, right, concentrate on selling people rather than serving them. I've said it multiple times in the past because, again, our organization, you can replace production easy. If Carter was a salesperson with us and he sold 10 roofs a week, I can replace that with people that are 20% as good as Carter. I've got to hire 5 of them, right? And I've got those 10 roofs back. But you can't replace good people. So serving our prospects and our people that work with us is the most important thing. Second to that is how we build our roofs. Because we're the number one fortified builder in the country, we know how to build the best roof. And we also know for a fact that once you have a fortified roof on your home, that you have a very, very high increase in potential to save a massive amount of money in your insurance. Now, again, we're not insurance agents. We can't guarantee anything, but we can tell you this. With previous clients that we've worked with, they have saved almost half of what their insurance costs have been on an annual basis because they've put a fortified roof on. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, right? If you have the best roof on, and it's got a 20-year leak-free guarantee, and you know it's going to last 20 years, do you think the insurance company will want that roof on or the one they got to replace every 10 years?
Yeah, because roofs are expensive. Let's see, average roof is $15,000 at least.
So the insurance company is going to be like, hey, Carter, you put on the best roof, no problem. Because you have the best roof and we know it's going to last 20 years, right? We're going to go ahead and give you a reduction in your insurance premiums because we know it's going to last that long, right? So again, we're not insurance agents, so we can't guarantee any of that, but I will tell you this, that we've seen it multiple times happen within our organization where our prospects and our customers and our family members, our clients, have saved almost half the amount of money they paid on their insurance. And I think that when you build a fortified roof with the #1 fortified roofing construction company in the United States, and you have an opportunity to save that much money on your insurance premiums, here's the thing. If you're spending $500 a month on your insurance and it goes down to $250, were you spending the $500 anyways, whether you put this roof on or not? You were, right? So we kind of tell people, if you can save those insurance premiums, just redirect that same money that you're saving, that $250 a month, towards a brand new roof that's going to last you 20 years where you only have to build it once. And I think that's what sets us aside from other people. We look long-term relationships, not to build your roof multiple times.
Very important. All right, one thing you've mentioned a couple of times, and now that sounds like it's almost like an insurance designation, but a fortified roof. Tell me what exactly that is. It's been fortified and said essentially sanctioned, guaranteed. What does that mean?
Yeah. So when you have whether it's a wind mitigation certificate because of the way the roof's built, or a certified document that shows that your roof's a fortified roof. Not to get too technical, but it's the way the roof is built. Okay, so there's things that you can do to a roof, like ice and water on the entire deck, right? The way the nails are actually put in, the groove nails that we put in, there's the ring shank nails that we use, and how we actually build the roof. We just build it so it can withstand storms better and a normal wear and tear, right? So as a roof is built where the nails are all straight lined, we have ring shake nails that go diagonally, right? We ice and water, which is like a film we put on the entire deck to where if water gets through, it can't seep through the boards. It's going to run off into the gutters and flow down through the roof, right? Onto the ground. So what does that do? It makes your roof last longer, right? So it's really just how the roof is built. And I think that when homeowners cut costs because they look at price all the time, they're like, man, I know, but I can build this roof for $20,000 and your roof is $30,000, let's say, just for numbers purposes, theoretically. Okay, so let me ask you something, Carter. If you build this build-a-grade roof for $20,000, let me ask you, what do you think the cost of that $20,000 roof is going to be 10 years from now? Just same exact roof, because material costs everything goes up, Carter, right? So let me ask you this. Do you think it's going to be $35,000, $30,000? What do you think that same roof, same $20,000 roof is going to cost 10 years from now? What would you guess?
I don't know, 40, 30?
It's more like 30, but let's just say you spend 20 today and 30 later, you've now spent 50,000, right?
Right.
In the same 20-year period, that you can spend 30,000 with Apex. So did I save you 20,000?
Yeah.
So we did. So that's the whole point. I think people look at the price so much because it's this instant savings now that they don't look at the cost later. So savings now isn't always optimal for later. Right. What Apex does is, look, spend a good amount of money now. Not everything. Don't break the bank, right? Let's get you into a roof that makes sense to you financially. Notice I didn't say affordable, but makes sense to you financially. Let's get you into a roof that makes sense to where you only have to build it once every 20 years. That way we're saving you $20,000 in the long run. You don't have to worry about costs going up, inflation, anything else, and you've got the right roof for now.
That goes along those lines. One of my favorite phrases: "Do it right the first time." Right?
That's right.
I mean, tell me, the insurance company's paying for if an insurance claim is coming to cover the roof, they're going to cover whatever you have put on paper as long as it's within their guidelines. Right?
That's right. They have to build
the better of what you can afford anyway.
That's right. They have to build it to code. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. We're almost out of time here. We've got about a minute left, but I want to touch on this question. We got 2 shows we're doing here with Todd because he's such an expert in the industry, and we wanted to ask him to stick around for a little longer. But what is the biggest mistake? We're going to start this question right now, and when I point at you, that means we can run out of time, and we'll finish it in the second show here. So tune in for that, as we're going to give a lot more to show you here. We got over the websites and some of their work and everything. But what is the biggest mistake that the average consumer makes when they're getting a roof put in?
Want me to answer now or no?
Do it now.
Okay.
Do the first. Give me the first. Give me the quick answer, and then we'll explanation at the next show.
Spending less money now, thinking they're getting more value.
Spending less money now, thinking they're getting more value. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Do it right the first time. We talked about this already. All right, everybody, stay tuned for more. This is the Your Little Castle Show. Giddy up.